Hey guys, it's EDDBUD, and I'm back with another running shoe yay or nay. If you've been enjoying the videos on the channel, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications below of when new videos are launched. And give the video a thumbs up like, please. I'd most appreciate it. Okay, let's get straight into today's video. If you haven't seen this series before, I examine 3 or 4 different running shoes and give them a yay or nay. Whether I'm going to review them in the future or not, I give my reasoning behind those views and opinions. Okay, first shoe up on today's running shoe yay or nay is the New Balance Fresh Foam Tempo. There's loads of Tempo running shoes around at the moment. I've tried out a load recently, in fact. The Reebok Run Fast 2, the Brooks Hyperion Tempo, you name them, and I've tried most of them. Well, how about this Fresh Foam offering from New Balance? This one retails at about £110 over here in the UK, and there's around 4 different colourways in the men's version of the shoe. I believe you've got a similar choice in the women's version also. There's some slightly alternative colourways. I do wish that they would actually extend out the different colourways to the men's section as well, and also give the women the chance to get some of the men's colourways. I don't understand why we're restricted to those. There's been loads of pink versions of the shoes. I've really fancied trying them out, but they just don't have them in my size, sadly. I got quite a lot of heat for trying that Allbirds shoe out the other day. When I first looked at this shoe, I instantly thought of the 1080 V10. It does look so similar. Same fresh foam. I think the fresh foam implementation in the Tempo is quite a bit thinner. There's a big slab of it here on the 1080 V10. Certainly an insanely cushioned shoe. I really enjoyed this one, mainly for some easier running. Commuting back from work was very pleasurable in this one. Not that we commute back from work really much at the moment. Commute up the stairs maybe, commute out into the garden, try and coax the cat to come in. On closer inspection though, with the Tempo, you see that it's got a plastic heel clip around this section, which was actually a fabric, almost felt type feeling material on the 1080. And you have an obligatory heel tab at the end to help put the shoe on. Don't think I've ever used one of the heel tabs on any of my shoes, but I'm sure others will be very excited about the inclusion of such a device. There's a 6mm heel to toe drop on the Tempo, but a bit of a deciding factor for me with this one is that in a UK size 8, this one weighs in around about 246 grams. So for my UK size 11, I think we're going to be up to 280, 290, something along those lines, which is somewhat on the heavier side for a Tempo shoe for me. Don't forget, I'm quite a slight guy. You know, if the wind blows, I sort of bend with the wind. I sort of fly away like a feather. And where I've already got the Run Fast 2 and the Brooks Hyperion Tempo that I've got to get some miles into very soon, there's already too much in my rotation now to warrant getting that one. And at £110, it's just not really a shoe that I'm hugely interested in right now. So for the New Balance Fresh Foam Tempo, it's a nay. Onto the Hoka One One Rincon 2. So the big news about the Rincon 2 is that it's pretty much the same as the Rincon. Everything that I've read about the release of the Rincon 2 suggests that there's some minor changes to the upper. The material does seem a little bit different, slightly less breathable than the first iteration of the shoe. Midsole, outsole seem the same. And when you consider that one of the big disadvantages, or at least the big downside to the original version of the Rincon, was the wear on the rubber sections of the outsole and even on the exposed midsole as well. It kind of makes you wonder why they didn't address that issue. Why break something that doesn't need fixing? The weight is reportedly a little bit heavier in the second version of the Rincon. I think it's quite marginal. One of the viewers posted that actually sock weight was quite different between loads of different pairs of socks that he had, and he actually suggested that weight's a bit of a misnomer with running shoes sometimes. I think he's probably right. I found the original version of the Rincon upper really breathable. I think that was one of the great things about it, and the whole shoe was quite light. I think moving away from that, changing the upper when you just don't need to change it, just seems odd. Why do it? Why not call it the Rincon Plus, or do a winterized version of it? That would probably be better if you said, yeah, this is for colder weather, a slightly improved, slightly thicker upper perhaps. But I just don't get it. I did find the Rincon a tad narrow in the first iteration. Maybe they're trying to alter that a little bit, but if the midsole unit's the same, that's not going to change anything. I'd suggest just going out and buying one of the first iterations of the Rincon. It'll probably be a lot cheaper now, they'll discount them all. So for me, the Hoka One One Rincon 2 is a big nay. Not one I'm going to be shelling out for. But it's not all bad news. I think you've all heard of the Asics Novablast. So a new type of flight foam from Asics, this very angular looking shoe. It certainly reminds me of the video game Juice X. If any of you have played that, I remember fondly eating Marmite on toast and drinking coffee when I was about 19 or 20 years old, playing it on my PC. And subsequently I've played the other versions of the game as well, the sequels, and I've really enjoyed them. Love that stealthy action, really good. There's some nods to futuristic buildings here to me, in terms of the Novablast construction, especially that midsole. Kind of makes me think of the Shard in London, or perhaps the Copenhill in Copenhagen, or even the Shed in New York. There's a mesh upper and a high abrasion plus outsole. I wonder what the differences are. Maybe it's just that they've added a plus. I hope not though. I really hope that there's some extra stuff in the chemistry of that rubber that makes it even more high abrasion. How much more high abrasion do you need? I got my Glide Ride here, and if you look on the bottom, I've used this on all sorts of surfaces, but there's just no wear whatsoever. And this is the high abrasion normal rubber, so you can only imagine, like in 1,000 years, aliens will probably land, they'll be like, what is this strange substance? Ah, high abrasion plus. How much more high abrasion does anyone really need? I think the midsole's going to wear out way before the actual outsole wears away. I think with my quest to up the mileage over the next few weeks, hit about 50 miles last week, push it a little bit more this week. Only 10% though. This shoe could be the answer. Everybody's saying that it's very, very cushioned, almost sponge-like. And I've seen some deals for these around about £90, which is very, very tantalising. Almost as tantalising as one of Mrs. EDDBUD's special omelettes that she makes with the peppers, the mushrooms, the jalapenos, the cheese. Oh man, I'm so hungry. This one's certainly going to be up there in terms of weight though, for my UK size 11. I think we're probably looking a little under 300 grams, but I'm prepared to take on the weight. He ain't heavy, he's my running shoe. I'm intrigued by the foam here. Everyone says it's super squishy, and I want a shoe that's going to be stupendously cushioned, but I can use on a daily basis. I think it could perhaps be a more versatile shoe than the New Balance Fresh Foam Tempo that I discussed earlier. So for me, the Novablast from Asics is going to be a yay. Though I may wait for the Edo Series 1 to release, the eco-friendly one. I think that colourway looks really nice, and I like the ecological sensibilities about it. The last shoe of the day in the yay or nay is the Nike Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent. So as an Englishman with an interest for fresh new running shoes, who craves the excitement of a mere sight of the DPD lorry arriving, prays for the DHL email to come when the shoes are going to arrive, the sweet sound of the doorbell ringing true, the unmatched smell of a new running shoe. I'm very intrigued by the Air Zoom Tempo Next Percent. It's going to have 4-foot Air Zoom, just like the Alpha Fly, and both Zoom X and React in the midsole. It does look like the upper is though quite different on the Tempo Next Percent in comparison to the Atom Knit on the Alpha Fly. It is quite rigid stuff. Another change is that the carbon plate is supposedly a composite plate. It's supposed to be a little softer than the one in the Alpha Fly. Perhaps a little bit more forgiving on those training runs. Even the outsole looks different. It looks like a much more aggressive pattern in both the forefoot and at the rear of the shoe. So all those things put into one package, and certainly it's a very attractive one to me. It's got some real mystique about it as well. I'm really interested to see how the different use of the foams together, plus the carbon plate and the Air Zoom pods, makes for a good running shoe. I think it could be fantastic, or is it going to be a case of too many technologies spoil the broth? Sadly, no confirmed prices for the Tempo Next Percent yet, but for me, when it is available, it's a big yay. Please let me know down in the comments, guys, as to which of these 4 running shoes you're particularly interested in and whether they're a yay or a nay. Musical interlude. So I dug back out this fantastic live album from Neil Young. I've been listening pretty much exclusively to Neil Young recently. This one was performed at the Red Rocks Amphitheatre and features Donald Duck Dunn on bass and Jim Keltner on drums. Super drummer. Neil's in inspired form on this one, with his Fender Deluxe screaming in pain, and he's using old black as well, the famous Les Paul with the Bigsby. There's a superb version of Cowgirl in the Sand on this one. I think it's about 18 minutes long. So it's great for those long runs. I'm going to definitely dig out some longer Neil Young jams and get those onto my Apple Watch if I want to do some longer runs later this week. Do check this one out, Red Rocks live album from Neil Young. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications of when new videos are launched. Hit that like button and share this video with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you